Hey guys, so here's the answer key for the review packet for your Unit 1 quiz, your Unit 1 test actually. These answers relate to the review packet that I gave you out on the first day. So let's look at question 1, 5x plus 3 minus 2x minus 6. Whenever we see that subtraction sign, remember we have to distribute out to every term on the inside. So before the subtraction sign, we're just going to bring down the expression 5x plus 3. Then we're taking negative 1 and multiplying by a positive 2x makes it negative 2x, and negative 1 times a negative 6 is a positive 6. From here, all we're doing is combining like terms. 5x and a negative 2x together becomes a positive 3x. And a positive 3 and a positive 6 is a positive 9. That's our final answer. We can't combine 3x and 9 because they are not like terms. For number 2, express x squared plus 7x plus 10 as a product of two binomials. So if we want to take this trinomial and express it as a product of two binomials, that means it has to look like the form written to the right, which means we're going to factor that trinomial using our 1am method. Our leading coefficient is 1. We want to add to 7 and multiply to 10. So we're going to take the 10, write it on the side, and think of two numbers that multiply to 10 and add to 7. 5 times positive 2. So once I have my two numbers, I'm going to come over here, put an x and an x since we have x as the variable, and it's a positive 5, positive 2. We're just going to place those inside the factor bubbles. So one factor is x plus 5, the other factor is x plus 2, and it is written as the product of two binomials. For number 3, a equals 2x squared plus 6x plus 5, and b equals 6x squared plus 3x plus 5. We want to express the answer for b minus a. So we want to take b, rewrite it, 6x squared plus 3x plus 5, minus sign, and remember anything after the subtraction sign, we want to place in parentheses because we have to distribute out that negative. So from here, I'm just going to bring down my 6x squared plus 3x plus 5, and take the negative and multiply to every single term inside the parentheses. So now we have a negative 2x squared, a negative 6x, and a negative 5. From here, I'm just going to combine my like terms. A positive 6x squared and negative 2x squared. When I combine them, it's 4x squared. A positive 3x, a negative 6x becomes a negative 3x. And then a positive 5 and a negative 5 actually cancel out. So we're just left with 4x squared minus 3x. For 4, we want to factor 6x squared minus 21x. We should notice it's a binomial, so we can't use 1am because that's only for factoring a trinomial. So now it's either a dots problem or a GCF. Yes, dot stands for the difference of two perfect squares, but 6 and 21x are both not perfect squares. So that leads us with a GCF. So we want to figure out what number goes into 6 and 21. The largest that goes into both is 3. And now we're going to look at the variables. X squared and x, remember we go for the lowest exponent. So x has that imaginary 1. So we're going to take our GCF, place it on the outside, and inside, to get what's left over, we're dividing. 6 divided by 3 is 2. X squared over x, remember we're subtracting our exponents, we're left with 1x. Minus 21 divided by 3 is 7, and the x's cancel out because x over x is 1. So our final answer is 3x times 2x minus 7. For 5, factor x to the 4th minus 10x squared minus 24. First, we're going to see if we have a GCF. Between our x to the 4th, the negative 10x squared, and the negative 24, you'll notice that there is no GCF that we could factor out. It can't be a dots problem because we don't have the difference of two perfect squares, leaving us with a factoring a trinomial using the 1am method. So we want two numbers that multiply to negative 24 and also add to a negative 10. So let's think 12 times 2 will get us 24. We need one to be a positive, one to be a negative. Because the 10 is negative, that means our 12 has to be negative and our 2 has to be positive. Just remember, that's to the 4th power, that's to the 2nd power. So instead of writing just an x and an x, we're actually going to put x squared, because x squared times x squared will get us our x to the 4th, and when we combine our like terms, when we double distribute, we'd have our x squared. So we're going to take x squared, place them in our factor bubbles, and we're going to take a negative 12 and a positive 2. For 6, find all factors of 16 minus x squared. So let's think. Always check for GCF. Then it's between dots or 1am. So 16 and x squared both don't have a common factor, so it can't be GCF. You should notice it's the difference of two perfect squares. So once we know it's a dots problem, we're going to set up our factor bubbles, put a plus sign and a minus sign, and then take the square root of 16, which is 4, then take the square root of x squared, which is just x. 7. Find the quotient. So quotient means divide of 6x squared minus 9x plus 3x and 3x. So we're going to take 6x squared minus 9x plus 3x and divide all three terms by 3x. So 6 divided by 3 is 2. X squared over x is just an x. Then negative 9 over 3 is a negative 3. X over x cancels. Plus 3 over 3, which is 1. And again, x over x cancels. So from here, we could actually simplify further. A negative 3 and a positive 1. So 2x minus 2. You could have seen that these two combine first and then simplified that first and then divide only two terms by 3x. But our final answer is 2x minus 2. For 8, if 4x is a factor of 4x squared minus 24x, what is the other? So we are told that 4x goes into 4x squared minus 24x. So I'm going to take that and factor out a 4x. So 4 over 4 is 1. X squared over x, we're left with an x. Negative 24 over 4 is a negative 6, and x over x cancels out. So 4x is the one factor that they told us. The other factor is x minus 6. And if we took 4x times x minus 6, we would get our original 4x squared minus 24x. For 9, we want to take x plus 3 times x minus 8 and express it as a trinomial, which means we're multiplying the two binomials together. So x times x is x squared. X times negative 8 is negative 8x. Now I'm going to go back to the 3. 3 times x and then 3 times negative 8. From here, we want to combine like terms. X squared negative 8x and a positive 3x is a negative 5x minus 24. Again, you could use double distribute like I did, or you could use the box method. If you use the box method, remember you're just setting it up like so. And then you would multiply to get your terms on the inside. And once you have these terms, you're going to combine like terms. And you're going to wind up with x squared minus 5x minus 24. For 10, expand into a trinomial x minus 6 squared. Remember, we are taking x minus 6 and we are multiplying by itself 2 times. So I want to expand and then I want to multiply. X times x is x squared. x times negative 6 is negative 6x. Negative 6 times x, and then negative 6 times negative 6. From here, we're going to combine like terms to get x squared minus 12x plus 36. 11. What is 3x minus 6 subtracted from 6x minus 4? Remember, when we see subtracted from, whatever's after from, we want to write first. So 6x minus 4, subtraction sign, then 3x minus 6. We want to place this inside the parentheses because it is more than one term, which reminds us to distribute out that negative. So 6x minus 4, negative 3x plus 6. From here, combine like terms. Positive 6, negative 3 is 3x. And then a negative 4, a positive 6 is a positive 2. For 12, simplify 3x plus 4 minus 5x minus 2 plus 6x plus 3. Remember, anything without our negative sign, we could just drop the parentheses. So 3x plus 4. Now we see a negative sign, so we're going to distribute that to everything on the inside of that parenthesis. So negative 5x, a positive 2, and now we see a plus sign, so we're going to just drop the parentheses and rewrite. From here, we're just going to combine like terms. A positive 3, a negative 5, and a positive 6. So we have positive 4x, then 4, 2, and 3. 4 and 2 is 6, 6 and 3 is 9. Our final answer is 4x plus 9. For 13, simplify x plus 2 times x minus 5 plus 4x. So the first thing that I want to do is double distribute. X squared minus 5x plus 2x minus 10, and then I'm going to just bring down my 4x. From here, I want to combine like terms. X squared, a negative 5, a positive 2, and I can combine again. X squared plus x minus 10 is our final answer. For 14, we're going to take x plus 3 and multiply it by x squared minus 4x plus 6. So I'm going to distribute again. X times x squared is x to the third. X times negative 4x squared. X times a positive 6, positive 6x. Now I'm going to go back and multiply the 3 out. 3 times x squared. 3 times negative 4. And then 3 times 6. From here, I just want to combine like terms. X to the third, negative 4x squared, a positive 3x squared is a negative 1x squared. Positive 6x, negative 12x is a negative 6x, and then plus 18. Express x squared minus 12x plus 36 as a product of two binomials. Again, so we're going to look at x squared minus 12x plus 36, and what we want to do is factor it. So again, the first thing that we want to do is look for a GCF, and there is no GCF between all three terms. So then I'm going to look and see that it's a trinomial. So a trinomial with a leading coefficient of 1, I'm going to use the 1am method. So two numbers that multiply to a positive 36 and add up to a negative 12 is negative 6 times negative 6. When I multiply, I get a positive 36. When I add them, I get a negative 12. So once I have my two numbers, I'm just going to rewrite them in my factor bubbles. 16, again, we have a trinomial with a leading coefficient of 1. So we want two numbers that multiply to negative 99 and add up to a negative 2. So we have a negative 11 and a positive 2. Once we have our two numbers, we're just going to place them in the factor bubbles. And here's the answer for number 17. Thank you.